Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another video for Eve Echoes. Today we're going to be stepping outside of New Eden and jumping onto the Eve Echoes community Discord, because last night the developers held an AMA regarding the upcoming balance changes. Essentially, they opened the floor to questions, and today's video is going to be me going through the best of those questions, giving my opinions and my thoughts, and just highlighting some of the things that are going to be coming soon. Now, of course, this is a kind of video I've not done in a while. There's not going to be any kind of flashy graphics on here, so if this is the first time you've seen me do one of these, do feel free to put your device down or get on with whatever it is you want to do and use this just like a podcast in the background. Ultimately, it's going to be the text on screen and me going over those answers. Now, if you do enjoy this video, let me know by hitting like on it. Subscribe to the channel for all things Eve Echoes, ding that notification bell so that you never miss an upload, and let me know in the comment section down below what topics you want me to cover in future. Finally, if you do want to go the extra mile to help support this channel, you can do so by joining us on Patreon. Details are on screen now. That said and done then, let's jump right in. Now, I have 21 of these screenshots to get through, so we are going to blitz through this fairly quickly. Do be prepared though, this video may be slightly longer than usual, and that's saying something. First up, will all balance changes be documented? I noticed that the Venture 2 was stealth nerfed last month without any mention of it in the announcements or patch notes. We'll have a patch list on all the balance adjustment. We have announced the nerf on the Venture 2, we won't conceal the change. I was about to say, am I the only one who remembers that they did announce the Venture 2 nerf? What they didn't say was exactly how they were doing it, and that's something that I do hope they include in patch notes in the future. Don't just say, oh, we've nerfed this and buffed that. Tell us how you've nerfed it. Did you reduce tracking speed? Have you reduced optimal range? That kind of thing. Let us know the numbers, let us know the methodology. That allows us to give better feedback. We know what we're looking for when we test it. Anyway, good to see though that they won't conceal the change. Is time dilation coming? Yes, it's under implementation. We face many issues on it. The deadline's unsure now, but sovereignty will come on time. For those of you unaware, time dilation is an incredibly powerful system that CCP added to EVE Online a while ago. It basically allows for, it helps cater to lag by spreading it across multiple systems, and it's a very, very clever system, a very interesting way of handling large server load. Obviously, they're having problems getting this onto mobile, but it is something that's coming, and that is very, very useful. Certainly, I saw with the defense of one of our big stations nearby us, that yes, server load can be a problem when there's 500 pilots on grid. What weapons are being nerfed, and what weapons are being buffed? Okay, so nerfed, small missile and medium rapid missile. Thank goodness, medium rapids right now are in a ridiculous place. They are just simply too good at everything, and certainly small missiles do cater into that problem as well. The reason for that is that small missiles are, basically medium rapid missiles are small missiles that fire faster, so they use pretty much the same stat profile. You can't nerf mediums without nerfing smalls, and the issue there is that small missiles are applying too much of their damage to things like cruisers. A small missile shouldn't be doing as much damage as it does to cruisers. It should be applying better to small targets like frigates and destroyers, but anything larger than that, it should be suffering. Right now, there's no reason not to fit medium rapids, because medium missiles, yeah, are great against cruisers, battle cruisers, and larger ships, but they're terrible against anything smaller, whereas the rapids are still good against anything bigger and amazing against anything smaller. Basically, if you want to be an absolute scrub right now, you grab a Caracal Navy issue, fit it with medium rapid launchers, and you just do whatever. It's a no-brainer way of doing the game, which I really don't like. I don't think that should be a thing, and I'm glad the developers have taken notice of that. Buffing, small medium blast railguns, which in this case I would take it means snub-nosed, medium autocannons, medium missile and torpedo, large rapid missile and torpedo. That's awesome, because medium autocannons, yeah, probably need just a little something, a little touch to them. The small railguns, small snub-nosed railguns, I'm sure you guys are aware, are something I've been crying out for some buffs to for a while. Medium snub-nosed, honestly, I think medium snub-nosed are in an okay place right now, but I'm not averse to them getting a little bit of love on the sides there as well. They're a system you don't see much of, and there's a good reason for that. Ultimately, anything that gets a few Caracal Navy issues out of the sky is something I'm all for. Next one, will mining drones ever be a thing? No plans for mining drones recently. That's not a no, it means they're coming eventually. When will exploration be added? A version after sovereignty. There is no specific date. Good. Exploration is something that they mentioned was on the cards a long time ago. It's a great part of EVE that allows you to explore and find things like wormholes or better combat sites and better asteroid belts that don't necessarily appear on your standard overview. Being an exploration-based pilot has its advantages because you can be hired by a corporation to find all the best mining belts. You're the one likely to find the richer mining belts, the better combat sites, and wormholes. Wormholes are a really cool thing in EVE. I won't go on about them too much here, but there's a lot of rare resources in them, and you can also use wormholes to travel massive distances in a short period of time. Next one, rapid missile launchers are disproportionately popular. Yes. Expensive? Yes. And effective versus targets of any sizes? Yes. Any plans to balance rapid missiles? We'll already have a plan on it. E.g. middle rapid missiles should not do so well against large battlecruiser-sized ships and small frigate-sized ships. Well, they should do well against small frigates. That's the point of them. But they shouldn't be doing well against the bigger targets. Any rebalance of faction frigate ships that we should be aware of, please. We may have a few adjustment, but not decided yet. Now, I'm sure the Dromiel is one that they are going to be doing there because they've actually had to turn off some of the bonuses for the Angel Cartel because they're not working properly, and there are a couple of those faction frigates that are underperforming compared to where they should be. Now, back in the OBT, I won't lie, most of the faction frigates were absolutely disgusting. They then got severely nerfed for the final test, and then took another heavy nerf between the final test and launch. So any buffs that they can get, I'm going to be honest, I'm all for it. I do think they should have a slight uptweak. Not huge, they're not useless, they're just not quite as good as I feel they should be. Is Silent Alliance the best alliance? If you love him, her, he, she is the best. Good answer there, Cloud. Can we actually ask sensible questions in these things, please? Why are they releasing Scramblers when we don't have D-scan or a defense against gate camping? Well, the fact is that Scramblers are easier to add because we already have the similar Disruptor. D-scan takes more time, we can't finish it in short term. Scan will be introduced in 2021, probably. Awesome! D-scan we know is on the way. D-scan is basically directional scanner. It allows you to find where in your system other pilots are hiding. Excellent if you're trying to initiate PvP. As it means you're not relying on just jumping from anomaly to anomaly to anomaly. You can actually actively hunt players. Also very good for system defense. Now, warp scramblers, we do come into this more later. Warp scramblers are basically warp disruptors, but shorter range, higher power, and they switch off micro warp drives, which I can't believe I still have to repeat this. Warp disruptors do not switch off micro warp drives. The text says they do, it's wrong. Ultimately, I see the point here, though. Adding warp scramblers is nice and easy, and I'm all for it. You don't need to have things like D-scan for warp scramblers to be a problem. D-scan doesn't fix warp scramblers. Warp scramblers aren't broken without D-scan. Ultimately, if I jump into a combat anomaly right now, I've got my warp disruptor, I can lock people down with that. A warp scrambler means I have to be closer in order to lock them down. For sure, it's more powerful, but I do have to be closer. And remember, gate camping, someone can appear 15 kilometers away from your position. A warp scrambler has a range of like 7 to 10 kilometers, at which point there's chance that they can get out and move in time. Don't think that D-scan fixes everything. It doesn't. In the event that any of the upcoming balance changes alter skills or weapons that players have committed significant SP to, thus making respeccing them with Plex prohibitively expensive, are there any plans to help players out with some kind of SP refund so that they haven't wasted those skill points as the balance inevitably shifts due to changes? Nero Augustus says, I also want to add the free reset skill points function. For example, after a balance adjustment we give 1 million free reset in a week, but you know we don't have enough time to implement this function, because the balance adjustment will release in a few weeks. I must say sorry for you. We will also do this function in the future. I've submitted the work order for it. That means it's not coming this time. It's not coming this time. But in future, they'd be looking to say, okay, we've had a balance patch. You're able to withdraw 1 million of your SP and reapply those across the board for free. Now, I do want to put a pin in this quickly and just say this really does embody a very strange mindset that we have when someone says the word nerf. I've had a lot of people saying to me, hey Benzie, I hear they're nerfing missiles. What should I change my weapon system to? And it's like, hold on a second. Right now, small missiles and medium rapid missiles are overpowered. They are doing too much and they are too good for what they are. They're ubiquitous. Everyone uses them because they're ridiculous. They're not saying, oh, we're going to remove these from the game and make it utterly pointless to have put skill points in them. That's not the aim here. The aim is to bring them back into line with other weapon systems. In fact, you saw in that bit that talks about balance, whilst they're bringing those down, they're also increasing medium missiles and torpedoes and large rapids and torpedoes. This means that missiles they are working on buffing and nerfing. It's not about nerfing something into dust, it's not about making a weapon useless. That's not the aim here. The aim is balance. So why do we act like when someone says nerf, we need to go, oh great, so what do I need to change to now? Stop trying to chase a meta. This is EVE Online. This is EVE Echoes. This is EVE. There is no meta you can chase like that. Everything will balance out eventually. If you sit there and if you're only using missiles because they're ridiculously OP at the moment, then you're going to have a bad time when you switch to the next system just because it's a little bit OP. If you're trying to chase minor advantages in a game like that, you're not going to succeed. That's not what EVE is about. You are not going to suddenly succeed because you've got a 1% advantage over someone else. If they're a better pilot, they're still going to win. That is just how this works. So stop trying to chase a meta right now and stop acting like a nerf means that your weapon is going to be useless. It won't be. It just means that now you don't go, oh, it's a Caracal Navy issue, let's put medium rapids on it. You're going to look and say, it's a Caracal Navy issue. Should I put medium rapids on it? Or is torpedoes going to be a better option? Or a medium missile going to be a better option? Which weapon should I use for which situation? Rather than, just shove this on it because it works in every scenario ever. Anyway, I'm ranting now. Details of dynamic pirate fleets. One pirate with the random ships and the random modules. We want the pirates becoming more likely to human. It's a step on the whole project. After the pirate fleets, the pirates will be more various in the anomaly. What I think that means, and this is a little bit of a translation issue, what I think that means is that you're going to see a bit more variety in what the ships are actually equipped with inside anomalies. When it says one pirate with the random ships, I'm assuming that's not like you're going to go into an Angel anomaly and suddenly there's a Drumiel in there. I'm thinking that's more a case of you'll go in there and rather than just all of the Thrasher Interdictors being equipped with one particular weapon, some of them might have strikes, some of them might have autocannons, heck, some of them may have even been idiots and fitted missiles, who knows. Kind of thing I think we'll see there. It's just they're going to add more variety to the fleets, and they will change, that you won't just jump into an anomaly knowing exactly what you're going to get every time. There will be some of those that are randomly generated between each anomaly. Thus, if you jump into a storyline mission, you know there are going to be 15 ships in a wave. Rather than knowing exactly what all 15 of those ships are and what they're equipped with, there will be some that are different each time. Is there any asset safety like in EO? There are plans to allow players to improve the security of the corp hangar. Good. I really hope that one comes into play soon. We need to have some kind of log on the corp hangar just so we can see who withdraws and who puts in. That would be a vital tool to stop people running off with all your assets. What tech level will the Interdictors be? Interdictors are Tier 6 and Tier 9, those are the destroyers, so that'll be like at Tier 6, that'll be the Thrasher Interdictor, Coercer Interdictor, Cormorant Interdictor, and Catalyst Interdictor. Tier 9 will then be things like the Thrasher 2 Interdictor. Same thing, but better. Heavy Interdictors are Tier 8 and Tier 10, those are cruisers. So things like, I think with the cruisers, it's not the Moa, possibly the Stabber and stuff like that. I don't honestly remember which cruisers were the Interdictors. I did look in the OBT and the final test, but I was so focused on smalls I don't actually remember which ones the cruisers are. Maybe someone in the comments section can tell me which cruisers were the Interdictors, but it'll be the Heavy Interdictor at Tier 8 and Tier 10. To explain the difference, the Destroyer Interdictors have Interdictor Sphere launchers. What they do is they shoot a little module into space, kind of like a drone or a probe or something. They shoot that little box into space, excuse me, and that box then emits a bubble around it, kind of like a shield field module. Anything that touches that has its warp drive deactivated. Micro warp drives still work, afterburners still work, just you cannot activate your warp to jump to a small distance away. You have to leave the bubble first. Now, heavy interdictors are kind of that same thing, but instead of it being something they launch and place into space, the heavy interdictor is a bubble around the ship, literally like the Guardian ships are with the shield field module right now. You'll see a big bubble around the ship, but rather than it being a shield field module, it will be a big sphere that again stops people from warping. Micro warp drives will still work, just your ability to actually warp away to a distant point will be disabled while you're in that. 16 ships in total, obviously 4 per faction, 4 Amar, 4 Galente, 4 Caldari, 4 Minmatar. Just cutting in real fast, the focuses on balance issues, topics other than that may not be answered. Yep, although they do still continue to do that there. Let's go across to the next one. Any word on when we'll get Mordus Legion ships? Yoo-hoo! It's in the plan. A new type of encounter is under consideration, including the Loyal Points Exchange. They may come in next year. Loyal Points Exchange? That sounds interesting. I'm not sure what to think of that. New encounters worth considering, because yes, Mordus Legion are unique in EVE Online. They spawn in completely different ways and methods to other legions. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I saw a Mordus Legion spawn. They appear in low sec, not in null sec. In low sec, and they spawn randomly. They're kind of like the equivalent of dead spaces, but in any low sec. You can kind of find Mordus Legion anywhere in New Eden and go from them that way. Nice to see, though, that they are on the way. One of the biggest questions everyone keeps asking me, Benzie, when am I getting my Garma? I don't know, wait in line. Can you implement a way for people in the system to know when the Cosmic Anomaly base is under attack? Yes. The function may be added in the Sovereignty system. Yes, please. Please, give us a big system-wide alert saying your base is under attack. That way we can jump in and kill the idiots before they can actually do the damage. Never destroy bases. Only cull them when they start getting too high level. Destroying bases stops anomalies spawning in your system. It stops your own production. It's such a stupid thing. What changes will be made to the drone UI to make them viable in PvP? Now, I'll be honest, I kind of thought drones were viable in PvP. Okay, yeah, they're not the greatest right now on the fact they can be destroyed, but they're still pretty useful. My worm has a lot of kill marks on it, and that's a PvP, that's a drone ship. Not being able to replace a destroyed drone during PvP because of a weapons timer is unfairly crippling. Well, yes, that I will agree with. We'll fix it within a month. So they're accepting that that is a bug. You should be able to swap your drones despite the fact that you're under a weapons timer. It's ridiculous that you have to warp away, wait until everything cools down, swap your drones and then jump back in. We'll be able to swap drones from the bay by dragging and dropping on the overview, similar to how we recall drones instead of having to use menus and fitting screen. Our UI designers are already studying on it, and dragging is one of our plans for changing ammo, but they will not be in the near future. Interesting. Ammo is still confirmed as on the cards there, and it's nice to see that they're taking the ideas of being able to drag and drop like that. Will we get a clearer display of drone EHP shields, armor, and structure to help us avoid letting them get destroyed? We'll improve it. Good, they need some kind of thing there. Right now, the best way to do it is to lock onto your own drones, which clearly is not a viable solution. Anyway, let's continue. Will drones be seeded into loot drops from pirates in either normal anomalies or Scout Inquisitor variants? They're prohibitively expensive because of scarcity, more so than any other weapon. Prohibitively expensive, more so than any other weapon? Have you looked at rapid missile launchers recently? Drones are not that expensive. Yeah, okay, they're about 5 mil a piece, but 5 mil a piece for Mark 7 is so much cheaper than some of the other weapon systems out there. In November, we'll introduce the storyline drones via the Encounter Awards. Huzzah! Come on, November. My worm is looking forward to that, being able to have the storyline drones, which is the meta level 5 versions. That's a huge boost to any drone ship out there, and the storyline stuff tends to be fairly cheap on the market because it's nice and easy to get as well. Will faction drones be seeded into any loot drops as well? Drones are the only weapon variant without a faction option, again crippling drone boats as viable in PvP. They're not crippled. Again, even my Tristan has kill marks, for crying out loud. Faction drones are not in the near future. That's a shame, but it's nice to see the storyline ones are coming with time too. And we know they've mentioned in the past that they're looking to increase drones, possibly extra drone BP drops and Inquisitors and Scouts, that kind of thing, or hopefully reducing the requirements to build them as well, that kind of stuff, just to make drones that little bit cheaper. Any plans to add an extra low slot to assault frigates? Oh, that would be amazing. I keep asking for this. 4 low slots would allow you to dual prop them. And that just in itself becomes amazing. That fixes every problem we have with the assault frigates. There are plans to add more special modules and rigs, but not just for assault frigates. Oh, Cloud, I think you missed the question there. We're saying, can we have a 4th slot on this thing, not an additional type of module exclusive to assault frigates. We want an additional low slot. 4 low slots on the assault frigates would be amazing. And while we're at it, please also add that to the faction frigates, because it would do the same thing, fix them without breaking them, just because you can then actually do things like dual prop, or fit those little bit of extra in damage repair, that kind of thing. Will this update fix the bug where the Nemesis ships cannot be put in the corp hangar when unpackaged? even though it can be traded through contracts. Says the item is untradeable but can still be put in contracts. No prototype rigs or any fittings on it. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. There we go. You learn something new every day. Yes, they're looking at fixing that. Are you going to add Mordus Legion and Sisters of Eve mobs anytime soon? Not in future. We haven't decided the way to drop their materials, and we still don't have Scan, which SOE specialise. That is one thing I've been saying, that yeah, okay, the Estero does have the, you know, it's obviously an amazing little drone boat, but at the same token, Sisters of Eve are all about exploration, and until exploration is added into the game, don't expect to see Sisters of Eve. Quite frankly, I think that's a great thing. I think it's worth waiting till exploration comes and then adding those as an awesome feature into that same patch. I am super excited for that eventual theoretical patch. Any plans for an Alliance Corporation killboard or tracker? Any plans for better organisation in personal hangars, asking for us hoarders, investors and collectors? The Corp killboard is already on the way, but the Alliance version won't come. The boxes already existed, but we need a rename box function. Awesome. So it looks like we're getting the ability to actually put stuff into different boxes in hangars, and thus sort things out. That will be amazing to have, like, something that is modules, something that is rigs and blueprints. Yeah, I know you can filter by materials, blueprints and modules, but that's not really enough. I want to be able to filter by high, mid and low slot. I want to be able to filter between all those kind of stuff there. Okay, moving on. We may have answered already somewhere, but when should we expect capital ships to come along to EE? Aye. Of course, EE Echoes will have capital ships, but we're still discussing the mechanism on capital, so you know, progress 0%.jpg. I do love Lance.'s humour. Capital ships, of course, are the larger than battleships. I think it's a little bit strange that people are asking about capitals when we're still about 6, 7, 8 months away from even being able to fly battleships. It seems a bit premature to be worrying about these when we're only tech level 7 and we need to hit tech level 9 before even the size down becomes a thing. But it does mean that it's something to look forward to in the future, I guess. I'm personally not a fan of capitals, but hey, I know a lot of people are, and this game isn't just about me. I'm not a fan of capitals. I think they slow the game down quite a lot, and they make things a little bit clunky, and they shift the meta and the balance in all kinds of weird ways that I just haven't really enjoyed in EVE Online. That said, I see that a lot of people do enjoy them and are excited to see those. Nice to see that they're coming eventually. What's the plan with nullsec PI and alphas, specifically here on the 13th of October, concerning full omegas and being tier 6, not yet tier 7? This isn't fair. Why not just restrict alphas? That's what they're doing. The plan is basing on striking bots plans. Sometime we want more friendly for alphas, but the bots tell me we shouldn't. What they're doing is that if you want to use planetary production in low-sec or null-sec, you need to either be Omega or Tech Level 7. If you are not Tech Level 7 or Omega, you are restricted to putting your planetary production in high sec only. So I'm not sure what the person asking the question here has misunderstood. They seem to think that you need to be Omega and Tech Level 7. You don't. It's one or the other. If you're an Alpha in Tech Level 7, you can put your PI down in nullsec. If you are Omega at Tech Level 3, you can do the same as well there. Don't stress. It's all good. It's all cushy. When do Corps get more titles? To be determined. Yeah, I would like more ranks as it allows us a bit extra control on who can access hangars and that kind of thing, but hey. Will weapon disruptors listed on the arbitrator be added to the game soon? Yes. Good. Good. I was a little bit worried when I only saw target painters and scanner dampeners. Sorry, I can't think of the word. Scanner damps on the system. Yes, we are getting the weapon disruptors as well. Weapon disruptors are great fun. I have done a video on what those missing E1 modules are and what we expect from them. Good to see those are coming. They'll be, when will Orcas and Porpoise be added back to the game? They'll be available with command modules. Awesome. Again, no point having Orcas and the Porpoise without them. What future fun do you have in plans for miners? Some plans of compressed ores. Ooh. Ooh. What tier are interdiction spheres? Read back through the questions. Tier 6, tier 9, tier 8, tier 10. What is the decay timer on spheres? 120 seconds. Awesome. That's good to know there. Decay timer on the spheres means that when you drop a interdiction sphere into space, it lasts for 2 minutes before it disappears. And do the heavy interdictors, or Hictors, use fuel from the cargo hold? Yes, they need fuel. Just like the Guardian ships, they need fuel to function. Good. Awesome. That's nice things there to know about the about how the interdiction spheres are working. Warp stabilizers are supposed to be balanced as such that your signature radius is debuffed and thus easier to target. Is this going to be more balanced in the future, and if so, when? It already is. Warp stabilizer is balanced by reducing scan resolution, rising locking time. They've done it the other way round in Echoes. Rather than it just being easier to target you, but you then get away anyway, it means that if you're fitting warp stabilizers to avoid PvP, you are worse at PvE because it takes you a lot longer to lock onto things. How do you plan on patching or altering missile launchers independent of adding the ammo and reload system? I ask as adding ammo and reload will likely balance missile launchers where they should be. Any further change might nerf them too much. Well, yes, we know that ammo and reloading is going to be a thing in the future. When without ammo, we will balance them. When ammo releases, we will balance them again in ammo version. Makes sense. Let's not worry about, like, oh, should we balance it like this and in trying to balance for a theoretical future patch. Balance it now and then address it again when it becomes a problem when ammo is added. Means nerf them down now and then buff them back up to make the ammo work. Okay, moving on. How significant are the upcoming balance changes? My goodness, could you ask a more vague question? Are you thinking of minor adjustments in the 1 to 5% range? Ah, good, clarity. Or sweeping changes in excess of 10 to 20%? I wouldn't necessarily say that 10 to 20% is a sweeping change, by the way. If I change for example, this is a key point, like if you put snub-nosed railguns onto a cormorant, the fact that it gets a 10% increase to it, like 25% increase to its optimal range, doesn't change it that much. Heck, a 50% increase to Energy Nosferatu range goes from 4 kilometers up to 6 kilometers. Percentages don't necessarily mean a huge change. Will this upcoming balance patch be indicative of future updates? The change is in 5 to 20%. We'll have a test on it or list on it, then make the decision. Awesome. Cool. Rifter Assault when? To be determined. Whoever that man is, give him a biscuit. Rifter Assault, the ship that should have been in the game. The Merlin Assault should have been a missile ship. The Breacher Assault should have instead been a Rifter Assault using small cannons. Hell yes, I even saved that one twice because it's so important to me. Are the heavy interceptors mentioned in the announcement destroyers? Any plans to increase the number of destroyers available, as there are 63 separate frigates, 56 cruisers, and only 36 destroyers? My kingdom for a viable cannon-based destroyer between tiers 5 and 10. Yeah, I know your feel there. I know how you feel. Once you hit the Thrasher fleet issue, that's it. You don't get anything else small cannon related for destroyers until you hit the Thrasher covert ops, which is insane. Yeah, okay, at tech level 6 and tech level 8 you're going to be getting the Thrasher Interceptor and the Thrasher 2 Interceptor, which of course are going to be cannon frigates, but a key point to mention there, 63 separate frigates, 56 cruisers, only 36 destroyers. That is partly also due to the fact that, yeah, you do have the faction stuff there as well. So there are all the pirate factions and stuff like that that do have frigates and cruisers, but not destroyers. That said, am I all for them doing something with destroyers? Yes, I've mentioned in other videos, I think destroyers are in a weird place at the moment, where they're trying to be faster than cruisers, but more damaging than frigates, and they ultimately end up falling between the gaps there. They don't really do enough either way to warrant. I think that could be fixed by giving some of them just an additional high slot each. Maybe that's just me, because obviously small weapons, they don't do that much damage comparatively. You want to bring the damage up to near cruiser level. They're a lot more fragile than cruisers, and actually in some places they're slower than cruisers, which is a real worry. When will the ammunition system be added? Sad story. Although we discussed on it a lot since a long time ago, it's not our plan in the next 6 months. Okay, so we've got time before ammo gets added. It's a question I get asked an awful lot. Is ammo coming to EVE Echoes? There's a part of me that hopes it is, but there's also a part of me that hopes it's more like scripts and not something that is consumable. I don't like having to fill up a cargo hold with a load of different ammos just to, be able to do stuff. Running out of ammo in the middle of combat is not a fun situation. It's okay, yeah, I get it, it's an EVE Online, but sometimes you have to sit there and say, realism's all very well and good, but we're flying spaceships, for crying out loud. Adding a little bit of suspended disbelief in the name of fun, I think, can be a good thing. Anyway, we've got an interesting list of questions here. Did I put this on? Yes, I did. Separate slide. Will the Warp Disruption Field Generator or the HIC itself have a modal setting that allows switching between field and infinite point modes of operation? Will be the latter, not the first version. So it's basically, that means, yes, you run as the sphere. That's a lot of complex information in there that I'm not going to get into in this video. Until Warp Disruption Field will Warp Disruption Field Generators consume fuel? Yes. Will Interdiction Sphere launchers consume fuel? If not, is there an ammo or some equivalent that limits how many bubbles can be created? Fuel. Will Warp Disruption Field Generators be available as NPC purchased BPs? BP drops? Will Interdiction sphere launches be available as purchased BPs, item drops, or as BP drops? BP drops. Will Warp Scramblers be available item drops? And will bombers get bombs? If so, when? Yes, they will have bombs as a future plan. What is the plan to add high slots to destroyers? No plans. Sad face. Literally just talked about that. Sad face. I would love to see that added. Is Higgs Anchor rig inertia penalty a bug or a feature? Should be a bonus, right? Feature about the inertia penalty. Interesting. Micro warp drive frigates and rapid missiles. Are there any plans to make a frigates with wow maths? The missile calculation formula will not be changed except for bug fixes. So they're going to balance based on how that works, rather than try and change the entire system underneath. Makes sense. Any plans to add movement vector display and the visual grid like the one in the beta? It'll be later. Yes, thank you. A lot of you guys have said in some of my older videos, when I zoom right out, there's like this grid overlay that showcases exactly how far things are. I can't believe they took it out of the game. I don't get why they took it out of the game. It's such a useful tool. I'm glad to hear that's coming back. There are reports that mining bots join Open Player Corps. It's a bot question. Yes, they're doing their best to ban the bots. Come on, people. When command burst mods? Update after sovereignty. Yay. How soon for weapon disruptors? Late October. Huzzah. Will countermeasures such as electronic countermeasures, there, ECCM, be implemented at the same time as modules like ECM? No, ECCM is later than ECM. Makes sense. Again, have the systems in place first, then add the counters in a bit. Ultimately, it gives a chance people to play around with those and actually understand what they're doing. What is the warp disruption strength of the upcoming warp scramblers? Currently you need to use 3 mid-slots full of warp disruptors to lock down a ship with 1 or a warp core stabilizer. Doesn't seem fair to use 3 mids against another ship using 1 low. The double strength will be the warp disruptor. Exactly what I've been saying in videos when I mentioned warp scramblers. Rather than warp disruptors being 1 or 2 points, warp scramblers will be 2 to 4 points. Will an info window be added for rats? Would be helpful to know for certain what the resistance of the rats are. Again, something I've been saying, at present the resistance to the pirates is the same as players. You can browse the ship tree. If you see someone flying a Gisty Thrasher, then they have the same resistances as a Thrasher. If you see someone in a Myrmidon, it is a Myrmidon's resistances. Nice and simple. That means you don't have to worry about like trying to figure out all these extras there. How are the missiles and drones going to be changed? Drones seem most OP, followed by rapids. Are you going to buff slow missile? Interesting, isn't it? People are complaining that drones are underpowered, and then this guy seems to think they're the most overpowered in the game. They are, ultimately, but they're very expensive and require a lot of skill points, which is kind of the counterbalance. Drones have some bug on cooldowns, we'll fix it soon. Medium rapid missile will be nerfed, while medium missile and torpedo will be buffed. SP reset is a little off topic, so we're not going to discuss it here. Hope you can understand, but its rules are quite simple and you can get it. And that brings us to the end of the ones that I thought. Basically the big takeaways are that medium rapids and small missiles are getting nerfed. No, that doesn't mean they're going to be useless, it means they're just not going to be as ridiculously overpowered as they currently are. Instead, medium missiles and medium torpedoes are getting buffed, along with snub-nosed railguns, small and medium autocannons, and I can't remember what some of the others were. But it's a nice list of buffs and nerfs that we're getting that seem to make sense. Looks like they're trying to fix drones. We've got a lot of cool things coming in the form of interdiction spheres and heavy interdictors. Unfortunately, doesn't look like we're getting the assault frigate balance that we wanted, or the Rifter assault suddenly surprise being added. The faction frigates are still going to be missing a low slot as of the assault frigates. Destroyers don't look like they're getting that extra high slot anytime soon, but there's a lot of interesting information in there to unpack. Obviously, the thoughts and opinions I've given are just my own. If you've got any thoughts or opinions or anything in here that you thought, whoa, that sounds amazing, and I want more information, ask me in the comment section below. If there's anything you think, hang on, Benzie, that's a bit harsh, let me know in the comment section below. Love having a chat with you guys, love hearing your thoughts and opinions as well. Been a long time since I did one of these super rambly, long read everything and talk about everything videos. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, give you something to do, something to listen to whilst you're doing the washing up. Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you for listening to me ramble on for entirely too long. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.